I know I'm cutting these short. I didn't want to make the video this long, but I feel like I could have done a video on each one of these questions in itself. So hey, it's Katherine Norland. Q&A. You guys asked me a bunch of questions about relationships. And so that's what we're here to talk about. Got my little heart from my little 2-year-old. So we're ready to talk about love and relationships. So we picked top 5 questions that were sent in about love and relationships. The first question you guys wanted to know was, what are the red flags before getting into a relationship? Could there be red flags? Now, you guys have heard the saying that love is blind. So how many of you guys have ever experienced or seen your friends experience? Let's just talk about your friends first, because it's easier to see the issues in somebody else than it is to see in yourself, is from my experience and probably from yours. So have you ever noticed when your friend gets with a guy or girl and they're so in love and all they can see is the good traits, and you're looking at them like, girl, that dude is not right? Or your guy friend, you're like, dude, you can't see, she's just using you, or she's just, that ain't really her, or whatever it is. Okay, we can easily see in other people things we can't always see in our relationships. So, red flags. There's probably lots of red flags. I'm just going to touch on the top 2 or 3 that come to my mind. So, red flag. You're in a relationship with supposedly, but they don't want anyone to know. They want to keep you a secret. I mean, I can say at first, I understand it's new, it's fresh. Maybe you're just dating a little bit. You're not necessarily ready to commit fully or say you're my steady boyfriend or girlfriend. Okay, I can see that. Not wanting to share it with the world yet, because you're still getting to know each other. You're still just talking. You're still just figuring things out. But if you've been in a relationship with someone 3 or 4 months dating, it's exclusive as far as you know, and they don't want you to tell anyone, that's one red flag. They want to keep it a secret. Another red flag is they don't want you to meet any of their friends, any of their family. Well, sometimes a few months in is a little early to meet family. It just depends, but they don't even want you to meet their friends. A big one though, especially if it's going to be like a really bad relationship of someone who's going to really take you down a bad path, if they want to keep you alone, they want to keep you secluded, they want to spend all their time with you, and you go, oh my gosh, someone's finally paying attention to me, I'm important to them. But they don't want you to go to the places you normally go. They don't want you to see the friends you normally see. They don't want you to see your family. They want to keep you isolated. They might say, oh babe, I just want you all to myself. That's a problem. It could be one of those controlling, domineering type of people that wants to keep you locked up, under their control, away from your friends and family that might be able to talk some sense into you, that might be able to be like, okay, why is he doing this? Why is he keeping you away from everyone? Watch out for the people who try to isolate you, the people who need. Also, watch out for people who suddenly they conveniently forget their wallet multiple times. They need help with this bill. They need help with that bill. They need that. And they're just pulling from you, drawing from you. And there's people that aren't secure in themselves. The people that text you 40, 50 times a day. Here's the thing. People can hide who they truly are for about 6 months. After about 6 months, this is why you shouldn't jump into anything too quick. After about 6 months, you'll be able to tell who they really are, because you can't hide your true self for too long. This is why it's really important to do something I recommend called group dating. You go out in groups with your friends. You have them meet your friends, you know, if things were open and there wasn't COVID. You would be going out, going bowling, going out to go video arcade, mini golf, whatever. You get them around your friends because you're in love. Love is blind. But your friends will see stuff in them that you can't see. And they will be able to go, you better watch out for this. That doesn't seem quite right. So get them around your friends. Your friends will be able to show you stuff that you can't see. And be smart enough to listen. Hey, they're your friends for a reason. Don't get like those people that go, oh, my friends, they just want to trash on my boyfriend because they're just jealous. Well, maybe they're not jealous. Maybe some are, but maybe they're looking out for you. Maybe they don't want you to get hurt. Maybe they can see some things that you can't see. You know, the Bible says in the mouths of 2 or 3 witnesses, let it be established. What does that mean? If you've heard the same thing from 2 or 3 different friends saying, hey, you better watch out for this guy, or you better watch out for this girl, there's something that's not right, please pay attention. They don't want to see you get hurt. Okay, how do you deal with rejection on Valentine's Day? Okay, owie. I know this one really affects a lot of people, but here's the thing. Honestly, Valentine's Day is just another day. It's not any different than any other day of the week. Okay, so the media, the industry, the people that want you to buy flowers and candies, they made it to be this is very super important day. This is the day we can charge a lot of money for chocolate and flowers and wine and food. But it is really just another day. And can you be more rejected on Valentine's Day than any other day? I don't really think so, but you know, it's being secure in who you are. If you didn't have a date the 13th, is it really that much harder to not have a date on the 14th? I mean, I know that sounds like oversimplified, but all I'm saying is if you're not in a relationship and you want to be, then you got to work on the steps it takes to be in it. Whether that's something you need to work on in you, something you need to put yourself out there more to get in those relationships, but not having a date on Valentine's Day versus not having a date the day after Valentine's Day isn't really any different. So I want you guys, I say this not because, oh, I'm in a secure marriage and so I don't know what it's like, because I do know what it's like to be rejected, to not have the guy, to have the guy I like actually make fun of me. Just treat it as another day. And if you want to be in a relationship, then work on that. But don't feel bad about yourself because you are rejected on Valentine's Day, because it's not any better or worse than any other day. And just love yourself. You have to start with loving yourself before anyone else can love you. I say that from a place of experience, knowing that. How do you trust and love again after you've been hurt? Okay, so there's a couple things to be careful of here. You don't want to have a rebound relationship. You don't want to jump right into the next relationship just because you don't want to feel alone. Because you have to work through that hurt. You have to work through those trust issues. And you have to be healed up and whole on the inside. You have to be ready first. And you have to realize if you're broken and you're empty, the worst thing you can do is look to somebody else to fill that hole in your heart. God should be the number one thing to fill that hole in your heart, but you have to also be secure in who you are, to know that you are an awesome person. You are a good catch. People would be lucky to be in a relationship with you. They would be blessed. You have to believe that you're not somebody's leftovers, that you're not somebody's trash, that you are important and you matter, and that being in a relationship with you would be to somebody's benefit. And I'm not saying that to say, be all high and mighty and conceited and lofty, like, ooh, you only wish you could be in a relationship with me, because I'm like, yeah. No, I don't mean anything like that. But when you've been hurt, a lot of times you can place the blame on yourself. You can be like, what did I do wrong? Why am I such a mess up? Why doesn't anybody love me? Why can't I stay in a... You start to put all this self-blame. And I want you guys to know, yes, there are some things you are responsible for in a relationship that goes bad, and there's some things you're not responsible for. Okay, if you did your best, if you loved the best way you knew how, if you gave out of love, but had boundaries not to be trampled on, if you did the best you could in a relationship and you couldn't do any better, it doesn't do you any good to keep going back and rehearsing in your mind the conversations, what you could have done, what you should have said, what would have been better, because all you're going to do is torment yourself, and that's not going to help you heal. That's going to take a longer time for you to heal if what you're doing is placing blame on yourself. And then if you're afraid to love again, you're afraid to trust again, what you're going to do is there's two sides. You know, you've seen the cartoons with the angel and the demon. One is going to be telling you, go get him, go get her, you're ready. And the other is going to be going, you're not ready. They might reject you, be afraid. It's going to go wrong again. It's going to go bad. Don't go out and look for a relationship if you're not ready yet. You have to know that you are all good. And here's the key. This is the interesting thing. Do not get into a relationship until you're in a place where you don't need a relationship. So you're getting into a relationship and you don't need this person to fulfill you. You don't need them to fill an empty hole in your heart. You don't need them to pay for anything for you. You don't need for them to validate you. You don't need for them to tell you that you're beautiful and you're worthwhile. You don't need another person for anything. That is the best time to get in a relationship. Listen, if you go to a buffet and you're starving, you're going to just put any old thing on your plate because you're so darn hungry. But if you go to a buffet after you've had a healthy meal, you're not going to put 10 desserts on your plate. Not that I've ever been guilty of that. So you be all good, then look for a relationship. How do you deal with anxiety after an argument? Here's the thing when it comes to intense emotions like anxiety. Sometimes you have to work through it before you can logically be ready to think of how to deal with the situation. The first thing to do is you kind of need to diffuse the anxiety. You need to stop replaying the argument that just happened. Stop replaying what you could have said, would have said, should have said, the stuff you want to say to get back at them. Prove yourself right, but also that's, you're on the attack of the other person. You also need to stop. I should have done this. I could have done this. What if I did this? I shouldn't have said that. Maybe they're right. Maybe then list all the bad things they said about you because they were in an argument. How many of you are guilty of saying things you wish you wouldn't have said in an argument? Me? Is it just me? No? Okay. We all say things in the heat of the moment, when we're mad, when we're in an argument. And afterwards, the best thing to do is to be objective. If you need to write down, okay, they said this, I said this, just to look at it. The art of writing it down does something to your brain where you're able to think on a different level, to have the cognition to just, you're not writing it down because you're going to go get back at them or you're going to formulate a better argument. You just want to write down what's been said because sometimes what has been said in the heat of an argument, whatever, is just they have these pent up feelings and they don't know how to express them and they came out in that way. And maybe if they were calm and you were calm, what they needed to say would have come out in a different way. Not taking offense is a really important quality to have, to be of a heal and hold self where you can learn, even if somebody says something that may hurt you, you don't take offense to something that wasn't meant to be offending. Someone may say something in the moment that you could be like, oh, how dare they? How could they have said that? And it could have just come out of frustration. They didn't know how to say it any better because you guys were mad. You're in an argument. They wanted to get across their point. They wanted to tell you where they were frustrated. They didn't say it properly, but it wasn't necessarily meant to hurt you. So that's something that you can, as you're writing it down, you can dissect. Now, were they really trying to stab me here? Were they trying to pierce my heart and say something really hurtful to me? Or was this just, we're in the heat of the moment, We don't, this came out, and it's not because I don't love him. It's just that I'm frustrated at the situation. And if you guys can get to a calm place where you can talk about your real concerns, like, hey, I'm sorry, this is the part where you cop to what you did wrong, where you confess, where you go to them after you've written it down, you've thought it through, you've taken the emotions out of it, and you can go to them and you can say, hey, I'm sorry I yelled at you. I'm sorry I called you a shopaholic. I didn't mean to take that out on you. I'm just feeling really stressed out and overwhelmed because we've got these bills that are due. And maybe I'm blowing some penniless widow out on the street. I'm going to end up with nothing because we're going to get kicked out of our place if we can't pay these bills. And you think it's more important to buy an Apple Watch? If you can say, but maybe don't say you think it's more important. Just try to explain to them how you're feeling, what it makes you feel, and say, I love you and I want to work this out and you're important to me. Please help me understand how you can justify buying a new Apple Watch when, we're 3 weeks behind on our mortgage. I'm scared for us and where we're going to end up. And take your part of the blame. I shouldn't have said that to you. I was in a moment, I was afraid. I was in a moment of fear, and just cop to what you did wrong and don't stew on the bad stuff they said. So if you want to bring up something they said, then when everything is calm and you have first apologized for what you said and the role you played in the argument, then after you've gotten that all out, so they know that you didn't mean to come from that place you came from, then say, hey, before we move on, can I just ask you what you meant when you said blah, blah, blah to me? Because honestly, it kind of hurt my feelings. And maybe you didn't mean for it to hurt my feelings, but it kind of stung, and it made me wonder, do you really love me? Do you still care about me? Can you tell me what that comment meant? And you allow them the space to say what they need to say. And here's the hard part. When you ask them, shut your mouth. Zip it. Don't say anything. Don't interrupt. Don't try to be like, I know it's hard. You're going to want to defend yourself. That's not what I meant. Don't. Let them get it all off their chest. Bite your tongue and consider it. Go, oh, you know what? Just what they're saying doesn't necessarily make it true. Don't let it stab you. Don't let it hurt you. Just realize that is how they're feeling. And then after you've allowed them to say everything they need to say, then break apart the little bits and pieces. You called me needy. Okay, I'm sorry I'm coming across to you as needy. Can you explain to me what is it exactly that I do in my behavior that makes you say that about me? And maybe they'll say, well, you constantly call me when I'm out dirt bike racing with my friends. And you can explain to them, I'm so sorry. I will try to call you less. It's just, maybe you've got some reason that you do that. Okay, my brother died in whatever kind of an accident. So when you go out and do stuff that seems a little dangerous to me, I do get scared and I do get worried, and I hope you're okay. So, can we maybe come to an agreement that maybe when you're out dirt bike racing with your friends, could you just shoot me a text every couple hours and let me know you're fine? Whatever it is, hear each other out, work everything out, and then come to a mutual understanding. And that's how to get over anxiety quicker after an argument, is to hone in on what the argument was about and what's causing the anxiety. Try to fix it immediately. Do your part to apologize for your role in that argument, and try to understand where they are coming from. Okay, the last question is, how do you keep a strong and healthy relationship? Okay, this one, I have a poem I wrote, and one of the lines in the poem is, about when you go into a relationship, you have both eyes wide open. You're looking, the first question is the red flags. You go into a relationship with both eyes wide open, looking for what could potentially be something that's a red flag. But once you're in the relationship, once you're married, then you kind of have to have one eye kind of shut. Like, oh, I'm not going to look at that. My husband has to not look at the fact that I have clothes everywhere all over the bedroom. He's a neat person. He's a neat freak, and I'm kind of a messy person. So he has to turn a blind eye, like, okay, I'm not going to look at her mess. I'm going to try not to get annoyed that she leaves cupboard doors open. Now I leave cupboard doors open, and I leave drawers open, and people bump their heads into them, and I don't try. Sometimes I'm just going a million miles an hour, and I'm absent-minded, and I think I shut them all the way, but they don't quite shut them all the way. So that's one of my faux pas. And then he does things I don't like. So instead of me getting angry and worked up and upset about all the little things he does that I don't like, I try to focus on his good points. I try to focus on his good qualities and not let the bad ones get me upset, but keep the main focus on the good things and turn a blind eye to the bad things. It also helps having common goals, working for the same thing, working towards the same things, the same goals will help keep your relationship healthy and strong. Also, not getting so busy and caught up in life that you don't have time to go out on dates, to get out, to go for a nature walk, and to stop talking about the bills, the kids, the this, the that, the work, and get to know them. I don't care if you have been with that person 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. You still need to get out and ask them, hey, what's your favorite thing about this? Hey, what's your favorite show right now? What's your favorite TV show? Why do you like that? What's on your mind right now? What's bothering you? When you go out, always try to keep peeling the layers to find out more and more. Let them feel heard. Let them be understood. Don't go out to eat and have both of you be on your phone. How's your day? Good? Yeah, good. How's yours? Oh, yeah, mine was good too. You want to get dessert later? I don't know. You want to split something? Look at them. Look in their eyes. It doesn't matter what they look like anymore. You're in it for the long haul. Don't be like checking out other people that look hotter. Don't be like looking, oh, we're in a beat up Chevy and that person's got a Rolls Royce, and maybe if I was with that person. Love the one you're with. Isn't that a song? Love the one you're with. You guys got this. You're going to be pros at your relationships because you're going to take the time to not only be whole and healed before you get into a relationship. You're going to apologize for your part in arguments in the relationships. You're going to see the red flags before they come, and you're going to be whole and healed before you get in a relationship, and things are going to go good. For people are going to come to you for advice rather than you going to other people. You guys got this. Happy Valentine's Day. Love you, and more importantly, love yourself. God bless. Live true. Love hard, shine bright.